my name is FARISYA binti ROSLINI and my matric number is 056419. First and foremost, our group has decided to create an ebook version of one of the most popular folk tales among children, which is Little Red Riding Hood. In this video, we will present the summary of the story and the characters involved, the justification on choosing the story and the characters, the process of creating the ebook, and the demonstration of the ebook. Moving on to the summary of the story, Little Red Riding Hood is a European folktale about a young girl and a wicked wolf. There are many versions of Little Red Riding Hood, but we have chosen the one from the British Council. The story talks about a young girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She is named after her red hooded cap that she wears. The story begins as the girl sets off through the woods to visit her grandmother. On her way, she bumps into a wicked wolf. The wolf pretends to be friendly and asks her where is she going to. The knave Little Red Riding Hood tells the wolf her exact destination. The wolf then quickly runs to the house, eats the grandmother, and pretends to be the granny before she appears. Upon reaching the house, Little Red Riding Hood asks a few questions to the fake grandmother regarding her appearances. To her surprise, the fake grandmother turns out to be the wolf. She then shouted and a woodcutter who was nearby came to rescue her after he heard the loud scream. The story wraps up as the wolf disappears. Next, the main characters involved in the story are Little Red Riding Hood and the wicked wolf. Little Red Riding Hood, who is a young and naive girl, plays the protagonist. On the other hand, the wolf, which has a hidden motive towards the protagonist, is the antagonist. Aside from these two characters, there are two other supporting characters, which are the grandmother and the woodcutter.
Hi, my name is ANNESA binti MUZAFAR, matric number 056406. In this part, I'll be talking about why we chose the Little Red Riding Hood as our ebook story and the importance of each character. Despite the many versions of the Little Red Riding Hood available out there, at least once we've heard either one of the versions, right? The main reason why we chose this story is because it is a children's tale that we adults are familiar with, and the story itself have a lot of moral values that can be applied to both children and adults. One of the many moral values that we can learn from the story is not to trust strangers, specifically sharing your personal information to them. In the story, Little Red Riding Hood gave the wolf information about her destination, which caused the wolf to eat Little Red Riding Hood's grandmothers. This can raise awareness on the younger generation to always be aware of the surroundings and teach them that even the most harmless information can be fatal if given to an ill-intentioned person like the wolf. Aside from that, we decided to adapt the story to provide an enjoyable experience of reading the ebook version of Little Red Riding Hood for readers, especially children. Children or readers in general have the opportunity to make their reading experience a more engaging one due to the interactive elements or features available in our ebook, such as the audios and the characters' animations. Moving on to the importance of each character, let's start with the main character of the story, which is Little Red Riding Hood. In the story, we can say that she is a loving yet naive character, as she did not feel afraid when she first met the wolf. The character of Little Red Riding Hood is significant as it represents a possible situation of what would happen if you were to disclose your personal information to strangers. Next, the wolf. This is a character that goes beyond the looks of an animal. The wolf initially approached Little Red Riding Hood and carried out a friendly conversation. However, it was all an act to trick her. The wolf represents a sort of evilness and a malicious being, someone that lacked moral values and have ill intentions. The grandmother, on the other hand, is ill and weak, which is why Little Red Riding Hood goes all the way to the forest to deliver the food. This character can be seen as our loved ones that we need to protect at all costs. Last but not least, the woodcutter. This character is seen as the protector that guarantees the safety of the other characters, namely the grandmother. And it can also be represented as the police because they protect their people and prevent a crime from happening. Thank you!
I'm Nurul Najwa and my metric number is 056409. Now I'll be continuing the presentation. AFIQAH and I will be explaining the process of creating our ebook. So I'll be talking about the design of our cover page, audio, and the type of font used. So this is the cover page of our ebook. In order to provide a little bit of insights of a story and characters to the readers, we decided to include all of the characters that play major roles in the story on the cover page, such as Little Red Riding Hood herself, the Big Bad Wolf, the Grandma, and also the Woodcutter. And since the background is dominated by the color green, we decided to make the font for the title of the story red. So here we incorporated the color harmonies formula, specifically the complementary colors formula that we have learned during lecture. So as we all know, red is on the opposite side of green in the traditional red, yellow, blue model, which means these two colors perfectly complement each other. Moving on to the audio used in our ebook, we included an audio of birds chirping in this particular slide so that the children could imagine themselves being in the forest where the story takes place. We have also included varieties of sound effects including screamings, the sound of the woodcutter's footsteps running in the forest, and the sound of the woodcutter hitting the wolf on his head. To insert audio and sound effects in our ebook, we click on the Insert option next to the Home option on Microsoft PowerPoint. Then we click on the audio symbol located on the top right corner of the options. After that, we click on the audio on my PC to insert an audio that is already downloaded into our laptop or computer. As you can see here, I'm adjusting the timing of the audio so that it plays along with the animation. So by adding music and sound effects to interactive ebooks, you can actually develop the children's interest in reading and encourage them to read more books. It also makes reading much more fun and engaging not only for them, but also to the parents or caretakers. Last but not least, the font used in our ebook is the Comic Sans MS. It is one of the many types of sans serif fonts. So the reason we decided to use one of sans serif fonts is due to it being considered as more clean and modern compared to other fonts. So sans serif fonts also tend to be easier to read on computer screens, including smartphones and tablets, which is suitable for our assignment since we are creating an ebook that can be accessed on smartphones, tablets, and other electronic devices. So Comic Sans MS is also proven to be perfectly adequate in designs for children or anything related to comic books, as it is easier for them to read and understand.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Madam Nor FARHAH binti MOHAMAD, metric number 056984. First and foremost, thank you Najwa for your clear explanation. I will continue to demonstrate the animation that we use in our ebook to ensure that the characters presented on each page do not overlap. And I will talk a little bit about the color that we chose for our background. Without further ado, let us begin with the most interesting part, which is animation. For the wolf character, we use a motion path to move the wolf from left to the right, and for the last part, we use the animation exits in collapse. For the text box of this page, we merely use simple animation which is taken from entrance, the green group, and choose Pick In, and we specify the timing and how the text will appear word by word. Next, for the speed splash, this is one of the most challenging parts because we need to use the same animation and timing for 10 speeds and have them all appear at the same time. For these elements, we use two animations. First, we use fade animation to make them appear on the slides, plus diagonal down right, and then we adjust where the speed will stop. This process takes time since we need to use the same sequence of animation for 10 speeds, as well as figure the timing and the arrangement of the speeds so that they will not interfere with each other. Then for Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood, we just use simple animations that fit the storyline. We use fade and titter for Grandma. Meanwhile, for the Red Riding Hood, we use animations grow and turn, since the character will move from house to the front, and motion path straight lines to make the character move closer to the next. All of the animations mentioned are important in making each character look alive and ensuring that the characters do not intertwine with one another. So next, I will talk about the colors we use for the background. Most of the time, we'll choose a woodland setting, which will include green, brown, yellow and blue colors. We must ensure that the background color is not too dark or too bright and that it is not too crowded so that the text and characters are easily seen.
Finally, we always ensure the arrangement of the characters do not overlap by selecting which animation will be used for each character, which character appears first, which will appear later, and which character must be removed from the scene. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Amirul bin Muhammad SHUHAIRI. My metric number is 054-988. This is a full demonstration of the ebook called The Little Red Riding Hood. As a conclusion, this ebook is very beneficial to us creators and even the readers. For example, it attracts the reader's attention to get them to know more about the story itself. For us as the creators, the ebook had helped us in utilizing most of the animation elements in PowerPoint. Other than that, we also learned the importance of background music, sound effects, and even transitions in making the animations becoming more alive.